Hi, this is Munson with Munson Music, and we're going to talk about how you could play a song called Purple Haze by Jimi Hendrix. And it starts out with this cool little lick, and if you wanted to kind of follow those notes, you could start 6th fret on the low E string, and then go to 8th fret on the D string. It's kind of this cool little B flat octave shape, kind of going 6, 8, 6, 8, or B flat, B flat, B flat, B flat, which is about as far away from E as you could possibly get in music. Kind of a nasty little tritone octave idea to kind of kick off the tune, almost like a psych out. And then we go to 7th fret on the D string is kind of a slide idea to 9th fret. And then we go to 7 on the G, 8 on the B string, and then 7 on the D, and then 5 on the D, 5 on the A, and then 7 on the A twice. So we got kind of a 7-9 slide, 7, 8, 7, and then 5, 5, 7, 7. And we end up doing that lick twice, kind of 7, 9, 7, 8, 7, 5, 5, 7, 7. And then we do 5 to 7 on the A string, and then 5 on the D, and then a 7th fret bend on the D string, and then back to 5 on the D, and then 5 on the D, 5 on the A, open E, and then 3 on the low E. And then we go back to 5 on the A, and then 7 on the A, and then 5 on the D, 7 on the D, and then you can play 7 and do a slide to 9 on the D, and then back to 7 on the D, 9 on the D, 7 on the G, and then 9 on the G string, and then we kind of play that and kind of slide into nothing. So all the way through that intro part, you got 6, 8, 6, 8, kind of around that B flat. And then we got our 7, 9, 7, 8, 7, 5, 5, 7, 7, 7, 9, 7, 8, 7, 5, 5, 7, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, bit 5, 5, 5, pull 3, 5, 7, 5, 7, 7, 9, 7, 9, 7, 9, 9, 9 slide. And that lick, actually, the coolest part about that lick after the B flat is it's all in E minor pentatonic scale, which is kind of a 5-note scale. And actually, if for solos later on, actually, if you're looking for just a scale to jam over it, I've got a really cool video on something I call the pentatonic map, which kind of works with an open E, and then 3rd, 5th, and 7 on the low E for kind of a G, A, B note, and then 5 to 7 on the A string for a D and an E note. And that's kind of your 5 notes. It's kind of E, G, A, B, and D. And then we got the E, and then you can go to 5 on the D, 7 on the D, and then 9 on the D, and then 7, 9 on the G, and then 8, 10, 12 on the B string, and then 10, 12 on the high E string. It's kind of like a little pentatonic idea, actually, that kind of goes through almost all the pentatonic notes that you would ever need, actually. You could kind of work that if you're kind of digging on kind of solo ideas. And all those solo licks from the beginning are kind of coming out of that, so you might want to check out that if you're more interested in kind of working some lead stuff. But on the intro part, actually, the chords that would back that up would start on an E major chord. When we play E major, first finger goes the G string on the 1st fret, 2nd finger on the A string 2nd fret, and 3rd finger on the D string 2nd fret. And if you strum all those together, that sounds an E major chord, and it sounds really happy. Now through the tune, you may want to think about lifting off the 3rd finger and making that an E7 chord, or you could take your pinky and add it in on the B string on the 3rd fret and give it a little bit more bite. Or if you want something really nasty cool, Jimi likes to use something called an E7 sharp 9, where you do 1st finger on the D string on the 6th fret, 2nd finger on the A string 7th fret, 3rd finger on the G 7th fret, and the pinky on the B string 8th fret. So now we have a nasty E chord with a G sharp and a G note in it, which is really nasty, and that's called E7 with a sharp 9. And then from the E, we'll be going to a G major chord. We play G major. 1st finger goes to the A string on the 2nd fret, 2nd finger on the low E string 3rd fret, and 3rd finger on the high E string 3rd fret. And if you strum all those together, that sounds a G major chord, and it sounds really happy. Now you may also want to think about putting the 3rd finger on the B string 3rd, pinky on the high E string 3rd, kind of working that for your G major. Or a nastier sound would be a G7 chord. When we play G7, 1st finger goes to the high E on the 1st fret, 2nd finger on the A string 2nd fret, and 3rd finger on the low E string 3rd fret. And if you strum all those together, that sounds a G7, and it sounds really nasty. Now, slightly cooler voicing for that, especially if you dig on bar chords, is you can do that as a 3rd fret bar, 2nd finger on the G string 4th fret, 3rd finger on the A string 5th fret, and use that for your G7. Or you can even add in the pinky on the B string 6th fret, and work that as a G7 chord. And then from From the G, we go to an A major. We play A major. First finger goes to the D on the 2nd fret, second finger on the G string 2nd fret, and third finger on the B string 2nd fret. And if you strum all those together, that sounds an A major chord, and it sounds really, really happy. Now, you may also want to think about lifting off the 2nd finger and making that an A7 chord, or you can readjust the fingers and put the pinky on the high 3rd for an A7. Or if you're digging on those bar chord shapes, you could just take that G7 shape we were doing from 3rd fret as a bar and slide it over 2 frets. And now it's kind of working off that A note on the low E string, and now it's an A7 chord. Or you could even add in the pinky on the B string on the 8th fret. And through that intro, actually, you could kind of work this as kind of a down idea, kind of a E, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, G, A, kind of do an 8 on the E, and then kind of doing a 4 down count on the G and the A. I'm adding a little bit of muting to kind of make that a little bit more interesting. But a lot of times to support my voice, I like using something called a strum pattern. And one of my favorite strum patterns for a 4/4 like this is down, down, up, up, down, up. So we took the E and just tried that a lot. You'd have down, down, up, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. Now the weird part about applying that to our intro and our verse progression is we'd have the E major kind of with our whole pattern, and then we get to the G and A. You may want to half it. You may want to do kind of a down, down, up on each of those chords. Or if you want to make that a little bit more hip, you could do kind of a G with a down, down, and then hit the A for the up, up, down of the pattern. So you'd have E, down, up, down, up, G, down, up, A, down, over E, down, up, down, up, G, down, A on the up, down, up. Or another strum pattern that I would think about using through the song is something called a 16th note strum pattern. And what I mean by that is if you're tapping your foot to the beat, right now we're kind of dividing that beat into 2 parts with our down, down, up, up, down, up. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and that's called an 8th note. What a 16th note is where you divide that into 4 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And one of my favorite 16th note strum patterns is a long down, 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 up, up, down, down, up, down. And what I mean by that is if you take the E and do it down for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what you'd be doing on the first beat. Then on the second beat, you'd be doing a down on 1, down on 3, up on 4. So you'd be going 1, 2, 3, 4, down, 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 down. And then on the third beat, you'd be doing an up on 2, down on 3. So you'd be going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, up, down, 1, up, down, 1, up, down. And then on the last beat, you'd be going down, up, right along with the 1, 2, 3, 4. So down, up, down, 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 down. So all together, you got down. To our intro, the weird part is that G and A, and you could do kind of a long down, down, down up on each of those chords, or you could kind of split the pattern and make it kind of G with a down, 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 and then hit the A for the up, up, down, down, up, down, which can be kind of cool. And obviously other ways you could split the pattern too, but E, down, down, up, down, 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 G, down, down, up, A, down, down, up, B. Intro, then we'd be going into our verse part. And on our verse, actually, it's that same progression, but we kind of tag it with this cool little lick, where you could kind of do this in a couple places, actually, depending on whether you want to go low or you want to go high. And 3 times, then we do kind of a big stop time on an E, and kind of killing the strings, and then you could take 9th fret on the A string, or 7th fret on the A string, and then do a bend, and then go back to 7, and then 5, and then we go to 5th fret on the low E string and kind of do a hammer on, and then 5th on the A, and then 5th on the D, and then we kind of go back to that 5th on the low E for the hammer on again, and then 5th on the A, and then 5th on the D. So you got kind of 7 bend, 7 5, 5 7 5 5, 5 7 5 5 is kind of that tag. Or if you kind of dig on this, you could take that idea and then move it up an octave. In other words, you could take those same notes, kind of that E, E, D, A, B, D, G, A, B, D, G, and do it higher. So you could start on the 9th fret on the G string with a bend, and then 9 on the G, 7 on the G, and then 7 and 9 is a hammer on the D string, and then 7 on the G, 8 on the B, and then 7/9 hammer on the D, and then 7 on the G, and then 8 on the B. So you can kind of work that either way, actually, kind of that. Or might be kind of cool to kind of throw in for that lick. So through our first verse, we tried that with our down, down, up, up, down, up. We'd have kind of that E down, up, down, G down, A down, down, up, down, G, A, E, G, A, and then we got our big E hit, and then lick. Or if we tried it with our 16th pattern, kind of thinking of the second verse, you'd have that E, G, and then lick. And then from there, then we go into a bridge part. And on our bridge, actually, we start on an A major chord. But then you'll kind of hear the bass move to a B chord or a B note. And you could do a B7 chord where you do first finger on the D string, first fret, second finger on the A string, second fret, third finger on the G string, second fret, pinky on the high E, second fret. If you strum the A string to the high E string, that sounds a B7 chord. Now, if you're digging on kind of bigger chords, actually, you could kind of take the third finger and kind of flatten them over the D, G, or the G, B, and E, and make that a B9, and kind of do like a little third finger bar. Or if you're digging on the bar chord shapes, you could kind of take that shape we were doing for the G7 and the A7, and just slide that over 2 frets to 7th fret. So now I got 7th fret bar, second on the G string on the 8th, third finger on the A string on the 9, kind of working off the B note on the low E string for that B7. And then from the B, then we go into a D major chord. And the way you play D major, first finger goes to the G on the 2nd fret, second finger on the high E, 2nd fret, third finger on the B string, 3rd fret. And if you strum the D string to the high E string, that sounds a D major chord that sounds really happy. Now you may also want to dig on kind of a D7 sound, where you do first finger on the B string, 1st fret, second finger on the G string, 2nd fret, and third finger on the high E, 2nd fret. Kind of work the D string to the high E string for a D7 sound. Or if you're digging on that B7 or B9 shape, you could take that shape and then slide it up to 4th and 5th fret and kind of work that for your B9. Or you could take that bar shape from 7th fret that we were doing and then slide it all the way to 10th fret on the low E string and kind of work it that way. So through that bridge part, from the D, then we go back to our E major chord. And that's kind of where the solo starts. And actually, you'll kind of hear this cool little bass change where you play open E, and then you'll kind of hear it go to 2nd fret on the low E string for F sharp notes, and then an open D. It's kind of that bass line around the E. So if you wanted to follow those notes, you could actually use an F sharp minor chord. When we play F sharp minor, first finger goes across the entire 2nd fret, third finger on the A string, 3rd, pinky on the D, or 4th fret, pinky on the D string, 4th fret. And if you strum all those together, that sounds an F sharp minor, and it sounds really sad. And you may also want to think about lifting off the pinky and kind of making that an F sharp minor 7. Or if you're trying to avoid bar chords, you can make that a smaller chord, like just kind of bar in the top 2 or the top 3 or the top 4 or the top 5, even the all 6. Actually, it's kind of the F sharp minor. And we almost have a halving idea between that F sharp minor to the D major and then back to the E, and then F sharp minor, D, kind of through that solo part. And we end up kind of repeating that 4 times before we end up back on kind of an intro vamp, kind of around an E major chord. So we tried that whole bridge with our down, down, up, up, down, up. We'd have the A, down, up, down, up, B, down, up, down, up, B, down, up, down, up, B, down, up, down, up, F sharp minor, D, E, F sharp minor, D, E, F sharp minor, D, E, F sharp minor, D. Play around with that too. Or if we tried that with our 16th note pattern, then we'd have kind of that A, B7, D, E, there's some really cool licks through that part too, and actually there's a slightly different rhythm too if you want to kind of follow this too. Is you could kind of take that A, especially if you're doing the bars, and do kind of a down up, and then lift the left hand just a little bit to kill the strings and do another down up. So it's kind of a mute down up, mute, mute, down up, mute, mute, down up, mute, mute, down up, mute, mute. So if you wanted to kind of follow that rhythm, then you'd have the A. Through that too, where you could kind of start off on the 9th fret on the D string is kind of a slide to 11, and then 9 on the G, and then 12th fret on the B string is kind of a bend. So it's almost like a little idea, kind of that taking that lick from the beginning and kind of adding a little bit of things to it. So you got 9, 11, and then 9, and then 12 bend on the B, and we do that again, and then we go to 12 on the D string is a slide to 14, and then 12 on the G, 15 on the B, and then 12 slide to 14, 12, 15 on the B, so we do that twice. And then we go to the 14 on the D and kind of do a slide to 16, and it's crazy for acoustic, but then you got 14 on the G, and then 17 bend on the B, and then we do that again, and then we got this cool little lick where you go 14 to 16 as a hammer on the G string, and then we go to 15 on the B, and actually that kind of gets repeated 3 times, kind of that. And then at the very end, we kind of do a little trill, actually, and this is where you do a hammer-on pull-off, kind of as a sustained idea. So you're trying to do it all on one pick, and then we end up sliding down to 10, and then pull off from 12 to 10, and then 9th fret on the B, and then 10th on the B, and then 10 and pull off to 9 on the B, and then G string on the 11 twice. Kind of take off into whatever we're feeling on pentatonic, but so through that whole bridge part, you got that 9, 11, 9, 12 bend, 9, 11, 9, 12 bend, 12, 14, 12, 15, 12, 14, 12, 15, 14, 16, 14, 17, 14, 16, 14, 17, and then 14, 16, 15, and then we got the 12 to 14 trill, and then slide to 10, 12, 10, 9, 10, 10, 9, 11, 11. And then if you're looking for scales to play around with, actually through that E minor pentatonic works really well. So you may want to kind of play around with that pentatonic map that I kind of slightly mentioned at the beginning. Or if you know other patterns through E minor pentatonic or G major pentatonic, you got your pattern 1, pattern 2, pattern 3, and there's all kinds of different ideas that you can make up with hammer-ons and pull-offs and slides and trills and double stops and patterns of 3 and patterns of 4 and crazy stuff. So you can kind of jam on that. And then from there, then we'll be going into kind of an intro return, actually, kind of an E vamp. And you may want to just kind of do just downs through that part. Or something else that I like to add to a song like this too is bass notes. And a lot of times on that first down, if the down, down, up, you can throw in a bass note for the chord. So on the E, you have low E for the bass. On the G, you have low E for the bass. On the A, you have the A for the bass. On the B7, you have the A for the bass. On the D, you have the D for the bass. And on the F sharp minor, we have the low E string for the bass. And if you're doing those other bar chords, those the basses for those are all in the low E, kind of the A7, the B7, and the D7 that we were talking about. And if you're digging on the E7 sharp 9, your bass will still be on the low E string. So if we kind of tried that through that E, just to kind of practice bass notes, you could have the E with the bass, down, up, down, E with the bass, down, up, down, E with the bass, down, up, down, E with the bass, down, up, down. Or if you're digging on the 16th note pattern, you can make that a bass, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, or bass, bass, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, or bass, bass, down, down, up, bass, down, up, down. That'll be cool variations. So you have kind of that E, or through that part, you might want to kind of bring back those licks from the beginning. throw in the E as a bass to support that lick. So kind of that. Time in the lick and throwing in the E chord or the E note could be kind of a cool idea. And then from there, we'll be going into our last verse. And you could kind of add basses to that with the bass down, up, down, up. And then we have the E down, up, down to the low E bass, A with an A bass, E down, up, down, G, A, E down, up, down, G, A. And then we got our E hit, ba-da-da-da-da-dee-da-da. That lick. Or if you're digging all the 16ths, it might be kind of cool to kind of do the E with the bass, down, down, up, down, down, up, down. And then you can do the G for kind of a bass, down, down, up, and then hit the A for the up, bass, down, up, down. Kind of get some basses in that way. Or you could even work it as kind of a bass, bass, down, down, up, A with the up, bass, down, up, down. So we tried it that way. You have the E. We got our lick to lead into our last bridge. And on the bridge, we could kind of add basses to that too, and we could make it work it off the bass, down, up, down, up. And you have the A down, up, down, up, B down, up, down, up, B down, up, yeah, E down, up, F sharp minor, D, E, F sharp minor. Work it that way. Or if you're digging on the 16th, you can have the A, D, D, E, sharp minor, D, sharp minor, D, sharp minor, D, sharp minor, D. Play around with that too. But that's the basics of how you can strum through Purple Haze by Jimi Hendrix. So, good luck!